Today we're going to be rounding fractions. We're going to determine whether a fraction is closer to 0, 1/2, or 1. 3 easy numbers to work with. Okay? Before we get started with our rounding fractions, we need to do some warm-ups. So on your whiteboards, you're going to write each fraction as a decimal.
Put the whiteboards out.
Okay, so we're changing these to decimals. The fractions to decimals. So our first one, what's our first fraction? Clark? It's 6/10. So because it's over 10, it's really easy to change into a fraction already. To a decimal, sorry. Right? Because that's the place value. So that means that if I write my decimal, all I have to do is 0 point and put the 6 in the tenths place. So there's 6/10. Okay? Number 2. I have 4 25ths. This is a little bit more difficult. And somebody, you guys, I told you guys, keep all your instruments under the table, right? So, Malone and Navarro, you guys can put your instruments under the table. If you need to move the chair or whatever, that's fine, but that way nobody trips over your stuff. Alright? So, 25ths is not a place value. So we want to look, what can we turn 25 into that has a place value? Can we turn it into 10? No. So what's the next place value to the right of the tenths? Yes.
20? No.
Hundreds. Can we turn 25 into 100? Yes, we can. What do we need to multiply it by?
4.
So we're going to take 4 25ths. Multiply that by 4 over 4. And this is going to give us 25 times 4 is 100. 4 times 4 is 16. So I have 16 hundredths. Okay? Now listen, I have 2 digits. I need it to end in the hundredths place. So 0 and 16 hundredths. Okay? The 6 has to end up in the hundredths place. Number 3, 1/4. How am I going to change 1/4? Multiply by 25. Look, we just did it right here. Okay? So I'm going to take my 1/4. I'm going to multiply this by 25 over 25. 1 times 25 is 25. 4 times 25 is 100. So remember, I have 2 digits, and I need the 5 to end in the hundreds place. So 0 and 25 hundredths. Okay? And our last one, 1/20th. I can't change 1/20th into a fraction because 20th isn't a place value. So 20 is already larger than 10. Yes? By 5. There we go. So we're going to go 1/20th times 5 over 5. And that's going to give us 5 hundredths. Okay? Only 1 digit, but it needs to be where? In the hundredths place, right? So I need a 0 and what's my next digit going to be? 0. And then my 5, right? Okay? Alright. Okay, now we're going to take some fractions, or some decimals that I should say, and we're going to change them into fractions with the denominators that are given to us, or in some cases, numerators. So you guys can start working on those on your whiteboard. Okay, so let's start with the first number 5. Number 5, we're looking at figuring out what G is over 4, which equals 7,500. So we take 75 and we put it over 100 because 75 or 100 is 75 hundredths, just as it's 75 hundredths. So that's going to equal something over 4. So 100 divided by what equals 4? 100 divided by what equals 4? 25. So if I divide this by 25, I get 4. So if I divide the top by 25, what does that equal? So my answer is 3/4. So G equals 3. Okay? We're moving to number 6. Number 6 is n over 50 equals 5 tenths. So I take 5 over 10, and that equals n over 50. How do I get from 10 to 50? I'm going to multiply it by what?
5.
So if I multiply the top by 5, 5 times 5 equals n. What's 5 times 5? So n equals 25. Huh? You don't get it? Oh, you don't get it. Huh? Number 7 is probably the easiest one on the paper. What does B equal? 10. Because this is 9 tenths, which means 9 over 10 is 9 tenths. So it's all right. 8. 12 what? 12 what? 12 hundredths. That's 12 over 100, which equals something, or C. So C is going to equal something. C over 25, right? So how can I go from 100 to 25? Divided by what?
4.
Divided by 4. So 12 divided by 4 equals, so it's 3 25ths, and C equals 3. All right? So far, so good? Yeah. Okay. Now we're gonna start rounding fractions. So we're gonna do a couple here with a number line and some fraction tiles. Okay, we want to round 7 tenths to 0, 1/2, or 1. So on a number line, it's pretty simple. We talked about it a little bit yesterday. I mean, not yesterday, Monday. Right? I'm going to label 7 tenths. So first thing I need to do is see how they separated my number line here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Cool. So now all I have to do is count 7, because I know that there's 10 pieces, right? So if I just count 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's my 7 tenths. Now what they want to know is, what is it closer to? Is it closer to 0, 1/2, or 1? What is the 7/10 closest to? Let's look. 1, 2. Okay? 1, 2, 3. And if I go all the way over to 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So which one is it closest to? It's only 2 spots away from 1/2. So it is closest to 1/2. So 7/10 will round to 1/2. Now, here's the other way you can figure it out with some tiles. You can take 1 and 1/2. And we can take our 10 tiles and bring them up here and say, okay, we're going to put 7/10 in here. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay? And then we take this up here. And I don't have these lined up very well. If I had these lined up better, the 5 would be right there. There'd only be 2 over here. Okay? So if we did this with actual tiles that didn't have this little white box around them, you would see that the 7/10, it's going to take 3 more tiles out here to make the one hole, where it's only 2 tiles over 1/2. Okay? So, but anyways, the number line, you can see here, the number line shows us that it's only 2 away from 1/2. So this distance is shorter than that distance and that distance. I'm sorry, I just messed up. It's shorter than this distance and that distance. Okay? So it's whichever one it's closest to on the number line. Alright. So Leela has finished 7/15 of her homework. Has Leela finished about half of her homework or almost all of her homework? Explain your reasoning. So, yes, ma'am. Almost half?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because if you split 15 in half, it would be 7 or 8.
It would be between 7 and 8?
Yeah.
Okay. So, we're going to say half, okay? And our reason is because if we take a number line and we say that this is 15 over here, when you're dealing with fractions, your number line always ends where the numerator is. I mean the denominator, sorry. Numerator's top number, denominator's bottom number. So in this case, our denominator is 15, so we're going to go 0 to 15. Okay? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay? Now, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is my 7/15. Now, 15 is an odd number. An odd number means that your the very middle is going to fall between 2 numbers. So the way that you figure that out is you go to the even number below 15, which is what? 14. What's half of 14?
7.
So 14 equals 7. And then you go above 15, which is 16, and that equals 8. So you know that the middle of 15 falls between 7 and 8. So here's 7, and here's 8. So that means this right here is the exact middle. So this is 1/2. Okay? Now, is our 7 closer to 1/2, 15, or 0? Right, it's closer to our 1/2. So, 7/15. So it's closer to half than 0 or 15. Okay? So that's our reason. Why did she finish about 1/2 of the homework? Because 7 is closer to 7.5, which is half of 15, than it is to 15 or 0. I'm going to start scooter going here. Keep it up. All right. All right, let's get started with our examples. Hopefully we can get you guys a couple minutes so you can do some homework, do some of your independent work here in class. All right. What? So our examples. A poison. Excuse me. Something caught in my throat. A poison dart frog is 2 inches long. This is equal to 2/12 of a foot. Is 2/12 closest to 0, 1/2, or 1? So we're going to graph 2/12 on the number line. Tonight for your homework, the number line is going to be your best friend. So we're going to make number lines for each one of our problems tonight for your independent work.
Can it be on a separate piece of paper?
Can be, doesn't have to be. You should have enough room. Okay? So I'm going to put 2/12 on my number line. We're going to mark off 12 equal increments from 0 to 1. So here's 0. Here's 1. Okay? Remember what I said? It's the same number of lines as the denominator, right? So this could be 1 or 12, which means that this is going to be 6 or 1/2. Okay? So far, so good? All right. So we're going to graph the 2. 1, 2. This is 2/12. Now, this is where it gets a little tricky. We're going to go from 2 to 6, from 2 to 0, and from 2 to 12. So looking at my lines, we're going to count the places. Okay? So from 2 to 0, it's 2. From 2 to 6, or 1/2, it is 1, 2, 3, 4. And from 2 to 12, or 1, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So which number is it closest to? 0. So the length of the poison dart frog is closest to 0 feet. So if we were to round this fraction, we would round it to 0 feet. All right. So good? Awesome. Our second example for the day. We're going to round 4 ninths to 0, 1/2, or 1. The number 4 and 1/2 is half of 9. Remember this is how we figured it out? They can tell us that 4 and 1/2 is half of 9 because 10 is 5 and 8 is 4. So 9 falls right in between 5 and 4, which is 4.5. Alright? You guys see how we did that? Alright, so if you have odd numbers on your homework tonight, you can figure out what half of it is by that way. Okay? So, the numerator in 4/9 is what? What's our numerator? What's our numerator? 4. Which is very close to 4.5. Right? Because 4, we're only half of a number away. So 4/9 rounds to 1/2. Okay? This is, all they did is they did the number line stuff in their head. They said, okay, we have 4. So that means we have 0, 4.5, or 9. 4 is way closer to this than it is to either one of those. So it's just 1/2. Okay? Then we check it on our number line. That's where 4/9 would be. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 4/9 would be right there. You can see it's like half a thing away. So it's half away from that. Where here it's 5 away, and here it's 4 away. Okay? So half is halfway between 4/9 and 5/9, since half of 9 is 4.5. So it's closer to half. You guys see how we're doing that with the number lines? We're just seeing what it's closer to. Alright? As long as you don't try to rush through it and try to do everything in your head, you should be fine. Yeah? Okay. That's 2 of our homework problems. Or I should say our independent work problems. After we do these, you guys will be on your own to do 3 through 19 on 6:15 and 6:16. Remember, if you don't show your work, you didn't do your homework. And in this case, your independent work, how am I going to know if you showed your work? By drawing the number line. If you don't have number lines, you didn't do your work, which means I think that you're going to look at our video and just write down the answers. Okay? You can use a separate sheet of paper. Okay. So we're going to graph each fraction on the number line, then state whether the fraction is close to 0, 1/2, or 1. So our first one is 5, 6. So they give us a number line. Remember, this is 6. So when you're writing your number lines at home, you can use the denominator. That's fine. All right. You can say it's 0 to 6, and this would be 3. And then graph your 5, 6 on that number line. And you can see that 5, 6 is close. It's 1 away from here. It's 2 away from here, and it's 5 away from here. So 1, 2, 5. So which one is it closest to? It's closest to that, which is 1. Okay. Second one, 5/8. So same thing. This would be 4. This would be 8. 5 would be right here. Okay. It's 5 away from 0. 3 away from 8. 1 away from 4, which is half of our 8. So it's closest to the half, which is 1. Okay? Do you have any questions? Comments about what we're doing? We're good? Okay. You have the next 10 minutes to work on your independent work. ran out of printer paper this morning, and I'm trying to print out a math test for tomorrow. It was like, oh, that stinks.